Doing very well, very well. Thank you.
We've got 8 folks here. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut out once we get this up and running.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave you in their capable hands. You're going to record this, correct? So that I can look at this afterwards. Okay. And I know we've got at least one other person that couldn't make it as well. So once we get everything rolling, I'll cut out. But I told the group here to just shout out questions. But I'm sure you'll give them instructions. One thing I did notice on the front screen, there was a typo. Just as you know, it didn't say thanks. It said the N was missing out of thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll get that update. I think that was when I just submitted an update when I was getting this set up. So I think that's what you guys were seeing there. So yeah, I appreciate that. We'll get that updated.
Okay. All right. Well, I will shut up and let you get started. Thank you, Tony.
That sounds great. Thank you, Richard, and thank you all for joining us this morning. I just want to confirm a couple things. You guys should be looking at your ALALM Loss Control Division portal page on the screen right now, and you'll see me twirling my mouse around on the screen. Can you guys confirm that you see that here?
That's correct.
Perfect. And just switching screens really quick, you're probably looking at something you've never seen before, but again, can you confirm that we switched screens there?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, without further ado, then, it sounds like you guys are all set up on your end, and you've called in, so we shouldn't have any issues on the communication or the audio here. As Richard mentioned during this call, the opportunity here is we're kind of showcasing or demoing kind of a webinar service that we're looking to provide to your members as an opportunity to help them get engaged, understand all the facets of this program, whether that be what training is available, how to quickly and efficiently get set up in the system, and then lastly, really navigate in the system as an administrator on this account. It's been expressed to us previously that, some members have not yet gotten engaged for the fact that they think it might be too hard to launch the program, or they really don't understand what it takes to get one of these programs launched for the municipality and get this set up for them. So the goal here is to really break down any misconceptions, any barriers to accessing the training, and ensuring that all member administrators have the tools and understanding of the system that they need to effectively engage their members or their employees with these training programs. So again, I like to keep these as informal as possible, so feel free at any point to cut me off, shout at me, or just interrupt if you have any questions. Ultimately, the end goal here is to really break down those barriers, answer any questions that you have. So rather than holding off on those to the end, I think it's most beneficial to the audience and for all attendees to ask questions. So the goal is here that we're going to be doing and conducting this first webinar with you all just to get you guys engaged, answering any additional questions you might have. And then here in about a month or so, the goal would be to also get your members registered for the same type of webinar service. And again, as Richard mentioned, we are recording this, so once the actual recording is conducted for your members, additionally, we'll be taking this video segment and putting that into the system as an opportunity for your members to engage with again. So those who may not be able to register or attend the first webinar that we're going to be conducting, they will have an opportunity, and you guys can have the opportunity to share this recorded webinar link with them. So without further ado, unless we have any questions right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and just jump in here. Again, I'm going to be going through both as a user or a standard user in the system, as well as then looking at it from an administrative point of view and how administrators can engage with the system. That means all the various administrative tools, such as assigning or adding course access, the various reporting capabilities that are available in the system, and so on. So again, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Everyone should know where this link is located on the website. If not, we're going to go ahead and pull this up here really quick just so you can see it. Bear with me here. And this is the league site. Can anyone here direct me on where to go and find this? This is kind of a test to begin with, just to make. And actually, we are on the wrong side here.
Yeah, lostcontrol.org, Tony.
That was it. There we go. That looks much, much better here. So right off the bat, where do we go to find this link? Is anyone familiar with this or how to access this link?
Online training on the left side.
Perfect, perfect. So again, once you select that, you've also got the screen right here in the middle of it. You've got here just kind of an overview page. It's good that you guys have this too. I think it's fantastic just to give kind of an overview of what the training service is. Also where they can go to set up an account and follow those instructions. So again, they can either see this information here, or we also recommend just to provide easier access oftentimes to the employees or the members who are engaging with this program. We do ask them to save this direct link sometimes, and that way they can jump right to it. They don't got to jump around or find anywhere else that they need to go, so to speak, to access that account, rather than navigating, so to speak, through the website. Even though it's very easy to find, we can send this direct link out, and your members can bookmark that and save that for easier access at another time. Another thing that we do as well is when a new account is created or launched, just so you guys understand what the internal process here, within 24 hours, we guarantee that we will not only activate that account, meaning we verify, one, that they are current members, and two, we go ahead and grant the training access to the employees or to the account administrator who just set that up. Again, the goal is we want to get them there in the system just as fast as they're looking to engage with it, for that matter. If there's any delay or significant turnaround time, that really places an additional obstacle or an additional barrier in gaining that immediate access and getting them set up. So not only do we verify the account and grant them their training access, we next go into the system and we really try to connect with that account administrator. It's one thing to get them access and get them going in the system, but if they don't know necessarily how to navigate or what those next steps are, and if they don't get that information in a timely manner, it's really kind of a negative approach to really get this program launched. So it's our goal internally to contact that account administrator generally by the close of the business day where we identify they set up an account. At that point, we send them what's called an employee upload form. It's just a basic Excel spreadsheet that they can actually fill out and return back to us. We use that information to upload the employees into the system and get them access to their training. And then the next step in the process is really coordinating with that new account administrator an opportunity to get them run through their own one-on-one demo. So you guys have a dedicated account manager. His name is Steve DeStacy. If you haven't talked with him already, he's a great guy to work with, really jumps in and takes care of your members in a timely manner. But we encourage, too, if you have questions, you can always contact myself or Steve directly, as, again, he's very professional. We'll be able to turn around these accounts and get them set up in a quick manner. Additionally, Steve, when coordinating with those members and getting that demo set up, he's very much going to go through, much like we're conducting today, a very in-depth demonstration of that platform and of the service. Not only discussing what courses or training courses are available throughout the year, but also really working with them to identify a training plan that meets their specific needs. So while the pool, is providing all of these great training services and there's a wealth of course offerings available, we really try to hone in and identify what training obstacles the members are having. Are they currently conducting harassment training in a group setting? If so, then we know pretty quickly that some of the problems with that is getting everyone to attend that classroom training session, and really the follow through and getting them set up and or completing that training. So again, this is one of those good options that they could rely on to achieve that training mandate or knock that out in-house. Otherwise, we'd like to offer suggestions on training as well, whether it's a continuing ed focus course or curriculum for the law enforcement members. It might be an opportunity to use this system as a various or type of onboarding training mechanism for new employees, and vice versa as a disciplinary training measure for any instance that may take place within the municipality. They're looking to either be proactive or reactive to an event, and providing, of course, education opportunities to enforce that learning. So with that being said, we are going to jump in. Let's go ahead and assume I'm actually set myself up this morning as an administrator on the ALALM test account that we have here. So again, the login is very straightforward. This is where you'll go on the login page. There's also a wealth of other information here, such as course lists that are available to not only view, but also download from the web page. Additionally, new users or new accounts can go here and set up a new account. One question that gets asked often is, and we see this often, is duplicate accounts, meaning duplicate entity accounts that are set up. And oftentimes this happens if there's a change of staff on the entity side or on the member side, that there's one person who is running point on this, he or she may have left, and then another individual takes over. So oftentimes they think they need to set up a new account, or it could be a user who is instructed to log in and take training and got confused in the process and set up their own account. It's also our account manager's job to check these duplicate accounts and ensure that there's not, so to speak, an existing entity account already available for that member, or if it is a new member, then cross-verifying that they are actual current members. But that's, again, just a process that we take on the account management side prior to getting an account set up and getting them launched. If we do find that it is a duplicate account, we do contact them right away with their existing login credentials so we can get them activated and utilize the program. So once we log, go ahead.
Hey, Tony. If we have an account to where someone does leave and we have a new administration, do they just need to contact you? You know, if they don't have the login information or they're not sure, who do they contact? Just Steve or you?
That's exactly it. Honestly, they can contact our toll-free number. They're always going to get the direct person or someone that can assist them. Ideally, you know, we contact Steve, and we like to implement a, so to speak, your own account manager. So not only you all have a single point of contact to correspond with, but your members have one point of contact that they can also connect with. But with that being said, if Steve is absent or is not in the office, or if I'm not around, any one of our customer service reps on our toll-free number can assist those members in either tracking down what their existing login credentials are or getting added to the trained account. Additionally, of course, administrators that are within an existing account, they can also add users on their own, again, whether that be a new employee that they're trying to get on board or, seasonal staff, whatever the case may be. They can do that in the system as well, and we'll show that when we get to the admin portion. But otherwise, we have our toll-free number, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the chat box here just so everyone's got this and can see it. And then you guys can copy that down as we're doing this. And then following this, I'll also provide you all with Steve's direct contact information should you need that, and go from there. Okay, just provided that in the chat box. If you guys wanted to jot that down, like I said, I'll also follow this this webinar up with Steve's direct contact information. You'll also have mine in that email as well.
Okay, great.
Moving forward at this point, so as you all can see, the moment I log into the system, every user is always going to be greeted with the standard welcome message in the system. Now, we can always update this at any time. Oftentimes we use this welcome message, and your members have the opportunity to leverage this as an opportunity to provide their employees with called a specific update. If an entity is looking to, so to speak, mandate training courses, this would be a good area that the entity can use to let their employees know what training is not only being provided, but also what training is mandated. Or if they're looking to just simply leave a little love note for their employees and let them know that they appreciate them, this is also a location to do that. It's kind of our bulletin board type setup, though, and ALALM has the opportunity to plug forth a specific message here or we can leave that open for your members and member administrators to engage with their employees with. I will say this is often one area that does not get utilized or is probably really underutilized, just because I think folks don't realize that this is something they can use as a bulletin board opportunity. We'll also show that once we jump into the admin section here. From a standard user point of view, though, assuming that I was just a standard user on the account, this admin location or this admin link that I'm circling here is actually not going to be available for a standard called frontline staff or frontline personnel. Only if I am set up as an administrator in the system will I see this icon available to me. If I'm a standard user, this icon is going to be replaced with what we call a user report section. So while administrators within an account also have a very robust reporting section, end users actually already and also have reports access that is specific to their own training progress. Additionally, they can always check their progress and certificate section. We'll just take a look quickly what that looks like. One area where individuals do get confused, I would like to point this out as well, is as you all know, we rotate courses through the training accounts on a regular basis. So when we rotate courses through, everything is set up, so to speak, on what we refer to as course licenses. So you'll see these options here where it says current courses or all certificates. And what this means is current courses is looking at the availability of the current set of course licenses that are assigned to me. And specifically, it can detail if I have completed any specific training here. It's really a quick reference to look at what I've already conducted and what I've already completed. Additionally, I can select the all certificates option, and keep in mind, guys, this is a test account that I've set up this morning for this demo, so I'm not going to have any records here, but what this shows is the all certificates. This is a detailed overview of all training courses or certificates that have been completed since the user's life of this program. So these could take records or have records. They go all the way back to 5, 6, 7 years ago, for that matter, if they're engaged for that point in time. But we like to let users know that because they always have that opportunity to double check not only their current training progress, but also their previous training history. And this is one location they can do that. The other location, of course, would be when this is replaced with, so to speak, that report section, for that individual user. They can run reports for specific time periods, be it for courses completed, courses not completed. And really quick, actually, let me go in and show you just so you can see that and kind of get the full understanding of what that looks like for the end user. What you were looking at a second ago was me jumping into the back end of our system. It's really an area that we use to effectively manage accounts and manage users and assist them when launching their programs. So I'm just going to set myself as a standard user here, and that way we can actually see the full scale of updates. We'll see if this does it on the hard refresh. Might have me log out and then log back in. Okay. So now when I log in again, as you can see that where I previously had that admin link, I've now got the reports access. This is going to look very familiar to the other reports access that administrators have, but again, this is very specific to the end user. So again, I can come here and see my courses completed or courses not completed. I can run that for very specific durations or dates. So I can look at the current month, the current year, or between specific date ranges. And lastly, as an end user, I have 4 export options. HTML is going to show that to me right on the screen, whereas CSV, XML, and tab will all spit that out in, so to speak, a very, call it an Excel spreadsheet for that matter. So it would download right to their computer right away. We do recommend just sticking with HTML or CSV. XML and tab are generally used for various importing, so taking this documentation and importing elsewhere, whereas CSV is going to put that out in a very nice, clean Excel format that the user can either save or reference at a later time. And I'm going to jump back in here now and grant myself, again, administrative access so we can use that for this portion of the demo here. Again, this is probably a situation I've got to log out so it gets updated here. Okay. So again, now that I'm logged back in, I've set myself up as an admin. You see that reports link was changed out, and now that admin link is available for me. So as a standard user, the next step in the process is really I'm logging in to complete my training. So there's a link there. Click here to see your courses and get started. There's several bits of information here that is important for the end user, and it's important for us to ensure that we let administrators know as well. So underneath the current program, we allow for 5 course completions each quarter for each employee. So that's part of the concept and idea here is we want to give employees the opportunity, of course, to utilize many of the programs that are available, but we want to be able to somewhat restrict that utilization. This helps keep costs down for one reason, but secondly, it really makes administrators for these programs be a little more selective in what courses they're making available to their employees. We've seen it before, and I'm sure we'll continue to see it, where you've got, say, the public works employee or a water and wastewater treatment facility employee. During the day and at night, they're a vigilante, and they're wanting to go through and complete all the law enforcement training they can get their hands on. Well, naturally, that's not beneficial to the organization and really for providing this service. So we want them to be able to focus on training content that is most applicable for them. 5 completions per quarter, up to 20 completions for each employee a year. What happens when an employee reaches their max utilization for the quarter is the employee is updated if they go to access and complete, call it a 6th course for the quarter. There's a notification that lets them know that their access has been denied and they cannot complete an additional training course. It doesn't mean that they can't go in and review existing training topics. They simply cannot move to the testing portion to complete that after their limit of 5 has been reached. This is applicable for all member entities that fall underneath this program, all member entities and all employees. So just keep that in mind. If that question does pop up from one of your members, it really is still a great training opportunity. Even with the restriction on access, they're still getting that availability of up to 5 completions per quarter or 20 courses annually. Keep in mind, though, that this does not mean that an employee who, say, comes on at the end of the year, the last year of the month, and they want to come on and complete 20 courses. It does not work like that. It is very specific to 5 completions per quarter. So if they came on at the end of the year, they'd be granted those 5 completions for the last quarter of the year, and then can continue on at the next quarter. Is there any questions concerning the restrictions, why we have them in place? Are you guys good with that?
I'm good with it. Hey,
okay.
Of the courses that we're looking at here, that's on the screen, is that the courses that you can see as a user? And
that's exactly it.
And is that a combination of the quarterly courses as well as the yearly courses?
Yes, sir. It sure is. So you asked a really good question there.
Is there a way to, highlight the courses that are they're there all the time? That way, if I'm a user, I'm going, okay, this quarter's about to end. What courses, are about to change? Or
yes, sir. So we do have that actually, and it would show. So we have a legend right here. So if I was to go in, actually, let me just show you exactly what that looks like so you can see that. I'm also, keep in mind, making some changes on the back end of this account just so we can kind of highlight that, and I'll be changing that back. So let's just say, for instance, eating right for health and fitness. I'm just going to go and update this on the account. Now, administrators can see exactly when the date is that training courses are set to expire. So we've got all these in here currently set to expire, both the quarterly courses as well as the annual course offerings that are available. These are all expiring July 2nd, but let's go change that one just so we can see what that looks like for the end employee. Again, this is access that I have specifically, but employees, even or administrators, don't have the ability to change these expiration dates. So this is, I just want to point that out so it's not something that you think everyone can do. But let's just assume that this was expiring on May 15th, so 15 days away at this point. Once I update that, go back here and refresh this, you can see now that course has been highlighted, so to speak, as expiring soon. Really what that means is that expiration comes on, or that highlight comes on the 1 month prior to courses expiring. So if it's reached that 30-day period when the course is going to expire, it is going to be highlighted. I will tell you guys flat out right now, we are looking to make some very significant changes with this user interface and so to speak, what this looks like for the end user. So not only are we looking to kind of enhance the way that users interact with the system, but also providing more key or detailed information, such as, and part of that is not only showing when a course is going to expire or it's expiring soon right now, but we are actually going to be implementing the expiration date so the users can see that as well. Does that answer your question, sir?
Oh, yeah, perfectly. I thought there was a way to do that. I just couldn't see it on the screen because they all had the same date. So.
Absolutely. Yep, that will pop up. And for those, so once they reach the end of this quarter, for instance, once really June 1st kicks off, we're going to see a lot of the courses highlighted, letting them know that they're going to be expiring soon. Of course, all those year-long courses or availability would not be highlighted. And then keep in mind, something that tack on to the question you just asked is really the access that I'm looking at here is not always necessarily what you all have decided to make available either for the quarter or for the year. Administrators on an account do have the ability to limit what an individual employee sees or has access to. We'll show you that here now, but I'm going to show you that to you. Again, this is just a quick change in the back end of our system so you can see that. I'm going to remove some of that access really quick. Show you exactly how that works. So again, while the pool wants to make these courses available and give the administrators as well as their employees the options to utilize the widespread availability of content, it doesn't mean that the administrator can't go and change that access. So I'm just doing a couple things here. Maybe I only wanted one individual employee to have access to the HR courses. Once I make that update here in the system, you're going to notice now that access on the user screen changes significantly. So the user no longer has the option to choose from the widespread courses that are available. If the administrator limits that course access for that user, that is the only thing that they're going to see when they log into the training. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. The next thing is, how does an employee gain access to a course? Well, again, we walked through that. So from that welcome screen, they click that link that says, click here to see your courses and get started. At that point, they're dropped on this screen. It lets them know about the 5 courses per quarter. So please select courses that relate to your position or as directed by your account administrator. In order to start a training course, it is as easy as selecting that course topic. I'm going to turn off the audio playback here so it does not interfere with this demo. But what we're looking at here on this screen, and you're going to find there's kind of a mixed bag, so to speak, of how training courses are delivered in our system. The majority of the courses are oftentimes what we refer to as single module, meaning that it is kind of a single chapter of a specific course topic and roughly around 30 pages that the user navigates to go through the training. Additionally, all pages and all courseware does have the audio playback option. This is really an ADA compliance factor that learning management systems must incorporate for users that might have both eyesight or disability issues and or hearing issues. They've got the opportunity to either read through the text and or plug in their headphones and listen to that text. That does not mean that they can just kick their feet up naturally and navigate through the training. They do have to be engaged with the actual training course. They have to navigate page by page. And we do track down to the second the amount of time that a user spends in the training material. So it's not beneficial for an employee to think that they can just click next page, next page, next page, as we are documenting down to the second. Their administrators can see this. Anyone who's paying close attention and really wants to look at a user's results will not only be able to document their amount of time spent in the training material, but also the number of attempts that it took them to pass that training exam. We do get the question that comes up often, and so we like to preface this now, but number of attempts to pass an exam does not impact the number of completions. So if it takes a user 5 attempts to pass and complete a course, that's still only going to count as one of their 5 completions each quarter. It's not going to account for and act as those 5 attempts were 5 completions. We just wanted to let you guys know that, so in case that does come up, as we've heard it before, we know how to address that. Additionally, as we're navigating through the system, everything is navigated through the next page button. We have taken a new strategy with the newer content that we're creating and really breaking those down into more, call them bite-sized modules. So while this is one course, sexual harassment in the workplace, this consists of 7 separate modules and kind of the flow of the course, starting with the introduction, navigating through the training, and then moving to the next module. Additionally, as you can see on the screen, we like to provide, so to speak, that bite-sized information. So we want to limit what it takes, or so to speak, an employee's engagement with this. We want to remove any other obstacles. So we put just enough content on the screen to where a user doesn't have to scroll through the training course to read through or read additional content. Additionally, it is broken down in that bite-sized learning method. So we do apply what's called the ADDIE method. It's the kind of adult learning standard when creating training content here in the system, to where, again, they can navigate it through it very easily and effectively. It helps with, call that knowledge retention or education retention as they're going through that. And again, that opportunity of blended learning, meaning incorporating both text, audio, and videos throughout the training course, really help to prevent or provide kind of a better learning mechanism or learning opportunity, one that they can walk away with some great materials with. The same thing applies with the actual video content. As far as accessibility is concerned, we have recently migrated all of our videos to a new video player option. And really what this video player option provides is easy access no matter what device you're utilizing. So our system itself is what we refer to as HTML5, meaning it can be accessed from any device, be it, now everyone's got cell phones the size of laptops anyways. So whether that be on your cell phone, your training tablet, or a tablet computer, laptop, or workstation, your standard computer, you can access this from any of those devices. Additionally, you can start and stop on any of those devices and pick up from, be it your home computer at a later time or something along those lines. So it does not mean that you have to actually start a course, say, on your phone and complete it all the way through. If you get interrupted or you have to walk away, it's going to record that progress that you've had so far in the actual course. The next time you log in, you do have the opportunity to pick up right where you left off. Again, you've always got this module menu that you can go through and easily navigate. You're not always tied to these directional buttons. So if you get to, say, Module 6, Claims and Investigations, but there is something that you remember or you want to touch base on again, you can easily jump to those pre-existing or previous modules throughout the training course. As we navigate through here, we also scatter what's called progress checks throughout the training course itself. That does keep the user engaged with the actual training test. So here's one of those checkpoints right here. And we'd let the users know as they're providing their answers what the actual correct one is before I can actually pursue or go to the next training module. There is a final exam at the end of every training course. That's included in the summary wrap-up. Kind of our goal as far as exams are concerned is for every 45 minutes to an hour-long course, there's roughly going to be about 10 final exam questions associated per hour-long course. So if it's a 2-hour course, you can expect there's going to be anywhere between 15 to 20 questions on that exam, and so on down the line. Really, the majority of our courses fall in that 30 to 45-minute time frame. Many of the newer courses we are creating, such as this course in particular, is starting or reaching close to the hour and a half time frame, give or take. Those are really just estimates based on the total audio times that we have in the system and how long it takes a user to navigate through that, including the testing portion. But it's generally safe to assume that anywhere between the 45 minutes to the hour range is about the time frame with each and every one of the courses that are offered here. So in regards to user navigation and accessing the training, a few things that we like to just break down because we hear this constantly. First and foremost, the biggest complaint, so to speak, that we always get, and this is people who haven't even touched the system yet, is I have users who are not tech savvy, they don't know computers, and this is going to be too hard for them. And really what we like to do, people laugh at this, but we go through an exercise, and I'll have everyone tap their index finger on the desk, and I let them know if they can do that, they pass the physical examination in order to participate in this training. That's all it takes from the point of sign-in to complete an actual training course. So we really like to reinforce that, and we encourage you guys to reinforce that when you're out visiting with the members. It is not difficult to get in here, access, or navigate through the training. It's not going to leave an employee guessing what they have to do next. So again, if they can use their index finger on their mouse and click to the next page, that is truly what it takes to actually navigate through a training course. So, just in regards, and if you hear that question pop up, we just like to enforce that. Let them know that, it is that ease of access. We're not here to confuse a user. And it is very simple to log in and find what you're looking for to take that training. Again, it's just not something that's going to leave them guessing or what they have to click next or go to next. As long as they can select the course and get started and click the mouse, they can navigate through the actual training course to complete this exam. So from a user perspective, that brings us up to really what's involved with the user to either go in and access their training, seeing what access they have to the courses based on what the administrators provide them with, and of course how they can always check their user progress. Before we navigate to the next section of this demo, and we're really going to be jumping in and looking at the administrative capabilities, I want to ask you guys, or take a second to see if there's any additional questions from a user engagement point of view that you might have or that I can address during our call. Okay, no news is good news. Go ahead, sir.
Nope, we're good.
Perfect. So as we alluded to earlier, if I am an administrator on the account, we'll talk about the various administrative rights here in a second, but if I'm an admin, then I've got this admin link right here in front of me, and I can access that at any time. There's no longer a credential that is required, again, because if they have been set up as an administrator, they don't need to log in to the admin site. That was previously part of our system, and we broke those barriers down and more or less concluded that if they've been granted access, they shouldn't need to log in to the administration portion again. What we're looking at here is the availability of, call it, the tools and capabilities that an administrator has in the system. So it starts with users and groups all the way down to get certificates, and we're going to walk through individually what each one of these does. But additionally, on this screen, this homepage is provided to give you with a brief overview of what these training or these resources can do for an administrator. So the users and groups is used to organize users within your university into various groups. You can add users and or in this location determine which courses an individual user can have access to. And the reason I say that is there's actually 2 locations that we can go to either assign or remove training access from a user or groups of users. The users and groups section is, and when we're talking about training access, the users and groups section is where I can go to modify or update a single employees access, whereas the license manager is a location that will allow me to update access, provide training access, or remove it for a group of users, so to speak. So we'll show you exactly how that looks and how that's engaged. Starting with the users and groups section, again, several things I can do in this location. I can create a new group, I can add new users, I can search a user and their progress, or I can just see kind of an overview of this account. So in this particular test account, we've got users broken into two, what we refer to as parent groups. That's finance and loss control. This is really, as it would pertain to your members, an area that administrators have the opportunity to go through and break their employees down by department. So in a standard account, we could see this being fulfilled with, police department, human resources, public works, water, wastewater. However an entity can go in and break down their access, the more beneficial it is from both a reporting point of view, also when it comes to assigning specific access. The more groups and the more areas that we can break users into, the more beneficial it is going to be for that administrator. We often get asked, though, what about subgroups or subdepartments for that matter? So let's assume we've got the police department. I'm going to make a couple of updates here just to show you how this works and how this also kind of coincides with administrative rights and access. So when I go to create a new group, it's going to ask me, is this a new parent group, or is this group going to fall underneath two of the existing groups or departments? We're going to create a new parent just so we can show what that looks like. So we'll call this police department. I've got that new group created, and additionally, I can immediately go in. I can add users to this group. I can delete the group, edit the group name, or I can create more groups. For today's demo, we're just going to look at what that looks like, though. So right now, we see police department. There's no number next to it, which means there's no users currently added to this department. Additionally, within police department, though, I might be working collectively with the chief police or the training captain, whoever's really running point on the actual training program. He or she might be interested, well, how can I control all the various types of users that I have underneath the police department? And part of that might be we could have the users broken down into really what their role is within the department. Are they dispatchers? Additionally, we can go in here and we can add, let's say, the patrol division. Type here. So not only can we create subgroups, but we can also create subgroups of subgroups. And what do I mean by that, for instance? So now we've got the police department as the parent group. We've got subgroups, which is, the other individual departments underneath that. Well, maybe we can say a subgroup of a subgroup would be, call it graveyard shift. That. Call that graveyard shift. And now if I go back to my users and groups, you can see how I break those departments down. Again, really where this aids not only the account, but that administrator in the system, as well as how we can really delegate control of this training down to, be it department level supervisors, shift supervisors, you name it. This really gives more control and access, not only for a primary administrator, but what we refer to as a group administrator to take further control or take the reins of the actual training account itself. Any questions on how groups work and how this can be beneficial to an account? I think you're going to see that when we get to the reporting section. But I wanted to point that out, which is it's a great location, but often, again, one that gets somewhat underutilized by administrators. So any questions around how we can create different group rights or departments in the account?
I take it that when you send the employee upload form, that they're not able to do groups with that, right? Y'all just
they absolutely are. No, sir.
Okay,
there is a location. There's a location on that for departments, and there's an instruction sheet on the that upload form as well that instructs how that data can be inputted. Also, if we recognize that, or if we've got a question regarding some of the information that was provided in that upload form, we do correspond back with that administrator just to provide any clarity on that or ask additional questions that we can set this up. But there is the opportunity on that upload form to predetermine or set up the parent groups or departments for an account.
Okay.
And then what we do is we ask them to actually type that information on the back end of our system. We actually, when we set those up, we set up, and if you're looking at the bottom of my screen there, you should see in the left-hand corner looks like a URL or a website URL that pops up. Well, when we start creating these groups, it allows us to actually add in what's called a group ID. It's something that we do on the back end of our system, though, and the end users or administrators don't have to mess with that at all. Now let's talk about really quick user rights here in the system. So when we add a new user, again, we can add users one by one in the system, or we can do that naturally with that employee upload form. Again, we want to take as much work off of the end users or that end administrator's shoulders and let us take the burden of it. So let us upload the employees. Let us make the initial course assignments. But again, if this is the instance of a new employee coming on board or even an employee leaving the department, administrators do have that capability to either add a new user or inactivate an old user for that matter. We do not give administrators the ability to delete users, though. In fact, no one has that access to those rights except for us on the back end of our system, just for the fact that we are required by law to maintain these records indefinitely. So it's our opportunity. We don't allow user records to be deleted. We do maintain those, but users can be inactivated from further accessing training or having rights to access the training. Let's also talk about user groups for that matter. So there's actually 4 different types of user settings or administrative settings that we can apply. First and foremost is what we refer to as a primary admin. The primary admin is not only the key point of contact for that training account, but they also have the rights and abilities to access all user results, run reports for any and all users, and really have complete control of everything and everybody that is associated with this training account. Secondary to that is what we refer to as just a standard admin. They have all of the same rights as that primary admin. So this could be, a training assistant, an HR assistant that is really responsible for making all the, call it administrative updates, but they're just not the primary contact for the training account. And next, and probably the most important, I would say, in regards to really building a successful training program is delegating the authority down to, say, shift supervisors or department heads to really take control of and take the reins for their employees. And someone within an HR role may only be interested in providing resources that fall underneath annual training mandates like harassment or diversity, whereas they don't necessarily know the inner workings or the day-to-day training concerns that the individual department heads might have. And they want to see the options that are available to add to their staff. So the last or the next user group setting is what we refer to as a group administrator. And the way that a group administrator works, I'm going to show you some changes here. First and foremost, I'm going to give myself access as a group administrator for the police department. When I update this, now what this means is from my training access and my reporting capabilities, if we go back and look at those users and groups, I'm a group admin for the police department, which means that I can access, from a reports point of view, all of the training that's being conducted for my staff as it falls underneath my specific groups of users. So I can go in here and I can make specific updates and run reports specifically for my training staff as it applies to the police department. Let me go back here. I didn't change. There we go. Okay, so police department group access. So this means from a reports perspective, I can access all the user content that falls underneath these users or these groups of users in the system. I can't see what loss control is going to be doing. I can't see what finance is doing, but I could access any train that falls underneath the police department, dispatchers, patrol, or the graveyard shift. Additionally, I can add shift supervisors as a group admin, but if I place them, let's say, into the patrol division group, they could see everything that's happening in this group in the graveyard shift and on down the line. So even assigning a graveyard shift supervisor administrative rights, that individual could see and only have access to make changes for that group of users. Long story short, the way and why this is effective is we're giving more rights and administrative capabilities for those department heads to really leverage the program. And in our experience, that's what makes for the most successful trained account. When it's one person trying to take on the control and access for all of their members and all their employees, it's not going to be nearly as successful unless, of course, they're in tune with to know every training requirement and need by every department, and then they just want to facilitate that. But there is a certain called opportunity for an account being that much more successful when administrators delegate that authority down or delegate those abilities down to those department heads and so on.
Hey, Tony, let me go back and ask you a question on setting up a
yes,
group.
Sir.
Okay, let's say you set up the police department group, and if there were, how do I put my people in there? Could I move someone from loss control to that group, or could I go from the other group users?
Yes, sir. So this is where we do try to identify this up front and really kind of focus on this, because it does become more of a manual process once the users are in the system to change them. But I could, for instance, go, let's say, to Richard here. Richard's set up underneath loss control currently. I would go into their details section, and you're going to see a detail here that says group. All I do is I click where it currently says loss control. I select that other department, and I update that access. At that point, when I go back to users and groups, we're going to see that 9 drop to 8, and there's now 2 of us in the police department. And we can do that individually for all users. If there is a large account, however, keep in mind we also leverage our own administrative resources here in-house. So if there's an account that wants to create or make big changes, I certainly encourage, give us a shout. Let us leverage, again, those administrative resources and capabilities that we have on our end to help speed that process along. So we've got administrative support personnel within our team outside of Steve, who's your dedicated account manager, that can go through and whether that be an entity changes all of their email addresses, let us go through and update those results. That's what we're here for. That's the services that we provide. So again, we really encourage your members and those administrators to lean heavily on the resources that we can help them out with. But again, the same really capabilities that we have, we give those administrators those rights as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Unless we've got any more questions about users and groups, we've seen how to add a new user, we've seen how to create new groups and how to segment those out. We've also seen how we can move that access around. Any additional questions on what we can accomplish in the users and groups section? Perfect. We're going to jump now into the license manager here. And really, we're just going to do a pretty quick flyover of this. It's a great tool, but the license manager is provided for 2 specific reasons. The first reason is to see what access do I have available on this training account. These are collectively all the courses that I've got currently available to me as an administrator on an account to either assign access to employees, remove access, but really just detail and see when the courses are available, when they're set to expire, and who's got that access. The second section, though, for the license manager is to assign or remove courses in bulk. And so what we do when a quarter changes out, when a new quarter is introduced, it is our standard process on our end that we go in and we expire all of the existing courses on an account, and simultaneously or in parallel, we reassign the next quarter's access. So there's 2 things that are happening. We're removing courses from users, and then at the same time, we're adding the next set or the next quarter of available courses to all users within an account. So at the beginning of a new quarter, every member account and all users have access to all courses. If an administrator wants to control that access, however, in bulk, meaning they want to remove some of that training access or assign specific training access, the license manager is the location to do so. As you can see, I can assign courses in bulk to users and groups or remove courses in bulk from users or groups. And again, this is really where it aids to having the various groups or departments broken into various sections on the account. Again, it gives that many more capabilities to that administrator to have, call it precision control over who has access to what and so on. And the same thing, again, that applies for department administrators to have that availability and flexibility as well. So if I was to assign courses, this is to groups of users. You can see here I've got those various departments broken down, whether that be police department dispatchers, or police department patrol. And even here, you can see the patrol division subset for the graveyard shift. So it does show you how those that access is broken down. I can either choose from all courses, a single course, or I can select multiple courses just by holding down the control button on my key. And again, this is part of that demo that we really focus heavily on for administrators to make sure that they have the tools necessary to go through it. And unlike what we're doing today, when we have these one-on-one demonstrations with the administrators, we actually have them log into the system. So we are walking them through and having them click these buttons, so they're not only visually seeing this, but they're actually involved in the system, clicking on the buttons and navigating through that training. We feel like that's the best approach to not only educate them from the front, but get them actively involved in utilizing the program. Before we jump out of there, any additional questions about what the license manager can do for you? We are going to be jumping in the last two sections here for our demo. So I just want to make sure I'm not rushing you guys or going too fast, and if there's any questions.
No, we don't have any questions. As a matter of fact, we're running short on time, so we're going to get to the next two.
Absolutely. The last section here that we're really going to showcase you guys today is the reporting section. So as far as the reports are concerned, there's several reporting options available to administrators, and again, that's controlled by their administrative access or rights. That's courses completed report at this point, courses not completed, course breakdown, user breakdown. You can also see if I hover over each one of these selections, it tells me what that report's going to do for me. I can run these reports up here into specific sections as well. So I could do that for specific groups. This is another reason why groups or departments are so beneficial to have set up in the account. It allows me to control or have that much more control over my access. I could do that for specific users or all users, or I can even run these reports for specific course topics. This is important if an administrator is looking to see all of their employees that have or have not completed the required harassment training, and so on. We've got the duration here, which is the current month, the current year, or between a specific date range. And again, as we discussed previously, the various exporting formats that we can view that information. So collectively, administrators have a wealth of opportunity available on their hands to obtain the training completion data that's going through the system. There's a lot of great detail that's provided here in these reports, so it gives them really every piece of information that they need to walk away and be successful with this. The last area, and we could show some examples, but I encourage you guys to definitely log into the system and try it out. Click the report, see what's available to you, as well as conversely your account administrators that play with that. But the last area that we're going to show you in particular, this is a more recent addition. It's called the Get Certificate section. And so as you all know, a certificate of completion is awarded to the end user upon completing an actual course. We keep stringent documentation on this, as well as the ability or access for administrators, not only to run completion reports, but if you do have an entity that is still keeping a file system in place and documenting these in employee personnel records, they can actually do this for either all users or specific users, and again, between specific date ranges. This is going to download all training certificates in an exportable PDF format. Just to show you what this looks like, when I select Get Certificates, that download box pops up. with a click of a button, it's quickly downloaded all of those certificates. It's going to use whatever PDF viewer, so to speak, you have on your account. So pull this over to this screen. There's been 2 completions on this account. I could see the username and so on, and document or export those certificates directly out of the system. They are customized with the ALALM branding and Loss Control Division branding for that matter. As you can see on this screen, it's a wide view here, so that's what it looks like, and that's what your end members see there in the system. So, folks, I know this was a somewhat of a quick flyover. Again, the opportunity is to get not only you all a little engaged with the system, what training is available to your employees, the members that you serve, and naturally their employees. But really, we wanted to get you guys here in the system, really sit in on an example of what we look to conduct with your members. And if you have any suggestions that you feel be more beneficial to your members for us to include in the next webinar session, or any additional information that you think that we missed over or we could add more time to, definitely let me know. That's the feedback that we're looking to collect prior to engaging with your members in the next webinar. But otherwise, I know we're coming down the last couple of minutes here, so if there are any additional questions, now's the time to do so, and otherwise we'll be packaging this up and sending you all access to a link for the full recording of this. You guys should have that on your desk by tomorrow once we download this, make some edits to the video, and send that out the door to you all.
Okay. I do have one quick question, and I'm sure
you
covered it, but if I'm an administrator, and let's just say I'm not very active, if I set up an account, I fill out the employee upload form, you'll set up all the accounts, you'll set up the account for me. Will the users have training already available to them, or do I have to assign it?
The users will have. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. We actually ask if it's a new account, and not the rotation of a new quarter, but if it's a new account that we're getting set up, we do ask that administrator up front, do you want us to assign all course access, or do you want to make specific training access? And we let them know, how the quality rotation works, but it is optional. We really try to get that feedback from the administrator, though, before granting access to everyone, just in case they wanted to go in and make very user-specific access. But I would say, honestly, 9 times out of 10, that administrator says, I don't want to mess with it. Give everyone access, and they would have access to all the resources.
Okay. Good deal.
All right. Anything else, folks? Or, again, if I'm missing anything, or if you need any additional call resources as well, definitely let me know. I will follow up to this presentation with an email with, call it the downloadable course list or anything else you folks need. But I definitely encourage you to please submit or give Richard some additional feedback about this. If there's anything else that we can include, beef up a little bit for the member presentation, I'm all ears and open for criticism. So we just want to make this the best service we can for your members and the best opportunity to engage with them.
Okay, and I take it I could get on there and go through this again myself, just to make myself really aware of everything.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. With the video, we're downloading this and recording this entire presentation right now. So you'll actually have that video, and it's going to allow you can fast forward through it, jump to certain sections, and kind of skip over the 30 minutes that we spent on the user part, just to jump in and see the admin section. Additionally, keep in mind we did add a new course. It's a free course to your account, and for all members' accounts, it's called Using Your Admin System. And that also goes through it's not specific to your program, but it does go through the full administrative capabilities that are available to you, and that's set up as an actual course. So you can go in and access that right away as well, and kind of go through the same overview that we just conducted here.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
You are very welcome. Well, I appreciate you guys joining and participating today, and I look forward to any additional feedback you have. But thank you guys again, and we hope that this was beneficial and one that we can also use to start engaging a little bit better with your members.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.